Okay everyone, welcome back to this fourth video in this four-part series. This is the fourth and final video. Last video was a bit long, this one will be much shorter. But this is the fourth video in this four-part series. Be sure to check out parts 1 through 3 where I talk about Vipassana meditation in detail. And in this fourth and final video, I want to talk about two things in particular. I want to give you a list of tips and tricks, probably the longest and most comprehensive list of tips and tricks, at least that I've seen on the internet, regarding how you can get through this very rigorous meditation course. This is not, don't take this lightly. This is 10 days of your life. So I'm going to give you a very long list. We'll go through it quickly, but I'll give you a long list of tips and tricks that will undoubtedly, I wish I had seen a video like this before I did the meditation, but these tips and tricks will undoubtedly help you and enable you to get through this course, and you can do it. It's not impossible. If I can do it, anyone can do it, as the cliche goes. And then the second part of this video, I want to cover, well, is this something that you should do? Is this something that you should consider? And, did I get anything out of it? Was there any benefit for me? I'll talk about that, and then I'll talk about whether would I do it again. Many people, many students that I saw on the day of the meditation, they've done it 6, 7, 8, 10 times. So would I do it again? I guess is the true test or measure of whether this is a beneficial program or not. Anyway, so let's get into it. Tips and tricks, and would I do it again? Was there any benefit for me? Let's go. Okay, tips and tricks on how you can get through this long meditation course. This is not an easy course, but hopefully this list that I've pulled together, and by the way, I think this is the longest list or most comprehensive list that I've seen on I wish I had seen a video like this prior to going to the course myself, but here is my list. I've done a brain dump and listed up what I think would be helpful tips and tricks for you. So let's go through it quickly. Arrival date. They tell you arrive between 2:30 to 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. Don't arrive at 2:30 to 4. Arrive as late as possible on day 0, because once you check in and check your mobile phone and your laptop and your computer, you're offline. There is absolutely nothing to do. You haven't started the meditation yet. You haven't started the Noble Silence. There is just absolutely nothing to do. And if you're there 2 to 3 hours before the first meal, I think on day 0 there's a light meal at night before the Noble Silence, you're just going to be bored to death. And for me, I already on day 0, I was just dying after 2 hours of doing nothing. Don't start off on the wrong foot. So for me, I would arrive as late as possible. Bring all of your over-the-counter medication. They tell you to stop all non-prescription medication. Obviously, if you have a medical issue and you need prescription medication, you need to bring that, of course. But they tell you to stop all OTC meds. Not for me. I recommend bringing your OTC medications. For me, they were invaluable. I have a bit of a sinus issue. You're doing these breathing exercises. You want to make sure you have a good sinus, good passageway, good breathing. So, I brought everything that I could think of. I brought a mini pharmacy with me. I had allergy medicine, I had nasal sprays, I had pain, over-the-counter pain medication, a good one, Tylenol. I bought various creams for my knees in case I was sitting there. I brought mosquito repellent. I brought all kinds of, skin, if I get bitten by a mosquito or what, you don't want to be sitting there in a meditation, and dying of itching if you get bit by a mosquito. We're here in Thailand. So bring whenever you need OTC medicines with you. Lozenges, cough medicine, a laxative. You're going onto a vegetarian diet, you're not drinking any alcohol, you're going to be bloated and you're going to be stuffed up. Bring a laxative. You'll thank me on that one later. So bring all your OTC meds. Don't tell anybody, just do what makes you feel comfortable. Bring your own pillow and bring your own bedding. This is 10 days, you're in a strange bed, You don't know who was there before. What they give you is okay, it's adequate, but it is certainly not comfortable. What I was able to do by bringing my own pillow in bed, I was able to turn this into this. And that really made it comfortable. For me, I slept really well because I was able to make up my own bed. By the way, I broke down and made up my bed, I think it was 10 to 12 times a day. I just didn't want any insects in there. It was just a discipline. I would wake up in the morning and break down my bed, fold it all up nicely, fluff it all up, put it up on the top rack. Then when I came back to the room, if I did a nap, I would remake the bed. Doesn't take you very long, right? It's all of 30 seconds, 45 seconds just to put the pillow down, put the bed sheets down. But I would do that, break it down, build it back up 10 times a day. Maybe I was a bit, obsessive compulsive, a bit of OCD there, but for me, it was great. I knew every night that I was getting into I felt like I was getting into a freshly made bed every night, and then I just slept really, really well. First night was torture. Second night I got used to it. From there I slept really, really well. I would learn a little bit of Buddhism theory on the religion itself. I will leave some links in the description to a couple of great, excellent free resources on how you can do a crash course in Buddhism. Just do it, take an hour and read up on it. The resources that I will give you are very light. They're not heavy at all. They go into a lot of Buddhist theory, Buddhist practice, and I highly recommend that you give yourself a decent background in the religion before you go to the Vipassana meditation. I showered often. I showered every chance I could get. I really took advantage. Again, I'm in Thailand, it's hot. There's no air conditioning. I took advantage of every shower time. By the way, they post a schedule. Probably shouldn't shower, although I did it, out of the posted shower times. In Thailand, all the rooms are private. You get your own private shower. So I got away with it, I think. But if you're in a different situation where there's a communal shower, you might be a bit sensitive to showering outside of the posted shower times. But for me, I showered. I wanted to be super clean. I shaved. I brought plenty of razors. I was just super clean, breaking my bed down, showering. I just felt very, very fresh throughout the 10 days. And I think that goes a long way. Look, this is a Herculean effort on your part. And you don't need anything. You don't need to be scruffy or itchy or clammy or sweaty or woolly. Keep yourself clean and well groomed. I think it goes a long way. Okay, keep your room clean. I kept my room absolutely spotless. Again, a bit of OCD on my part. I kept my bedside table properly organized. I had all my meds ready to go. My suitcase was under the bed. I just kept my room clean. I used to sweep it and clean it and mop it every other day just to make sure my room was clean and felt nice and organized and refreshed when I went back into it late at night for sleeping. Bring yourself not a smartwatch, but bring yourself a watch and an alarm clock. You cannot use a smartwatch with alarm in the meditation hall. They will take that away from you. So bring yourself a nice digital watch, not a smartwatch, but bring yourself a digital watch. You're going to need it. There are days when you're just dying and you're going to glance down at your watch and say, well, how much longer do I have in this particular session? And that's going to really allow you to get through. If you notice you've only got another 12 minutes, rather than, facing off into the abyss, if you know you've only got another 12 minutes in this session, for me, it just allowed me, okay, I can stick it out for another 12 minutes. So bring yourself a nice watch. I brought myself a nice alarm clock with a little light on it. At night, sometimes I would wake up early in 3, 4 in the morning, and I would hit the light, and I could see what time it was. So for me, it just kept me grounded, and I knew I could plan my schedule. 3 days into it, by the way, you're going to be very regimented anyhow. I brought myself a yoga mat, so I would do some exercises, so I highly recommend. They say don't do any exercises. I went against this. I did some exercises in the room. I did a bit of, I did some burpees, I did some push-ups, I did some sit-ups, etc. I kept myself active and I kept myself moving. Learn meditation. you should be able to do a 30-minute meditation, unguided, by the way, an unguided meditation, not one of these YouTube videos where they talk you through it throughout the entire, learn to do a 30-minute silent, unguided meditation comfortably. And I think once you get into the meditation course, Vipassana course, you'll be much better prepared. It won't be so much of a shock. I wish I had done that prior to going to the course, because the first time I did a 1-hour meditation, it was absolutely very, very difficult for me. I was just wanting to, jump up and run out of there, out of the meditation also. Learn to do a bit of meditation before you go. Bring laundry detergent 3-4 days in. You might want to do a little bit of washing in your sink. They will have sink facilities, by the way, washing, but they may not provide you with detergent, so bring a little bit of laundry detergent. In Thailand, all the rooms are private, so you don't have a roommate, which is great, by the way. I would never have been able to get through this with a roommate, but you want to bring an eye mask, and you also want to bring earplugs, just in case you have a roommate. Next, learn to nap. Now, some people, learning to nap is actually it's a developed skill. As you get older, you get better at it as a function of age. But even still, some people just don't have the ability to close their eyes and go to sleep in the daytime for 15 or 20 minutes. And that was me for a long time, until I started practicing learning to nap, learning how to take a quick nap, learning how to do a quick siesta, as they say in Mexico. So learn to do a quick 30-minute or 40-minute nap, bring your mind down, drift off, go to sleep. And if you can do that, you're going to kill time, because you're going to have a lot of time on your hands, but also you're going to feel much more refreshed going into the meditation sessions if you're going to learn to nap. So definitely practice learning to nap before you go to meditation, Vipassana meditation. I would watch 1 to 2 of the discourses as well prior to going to the meditation course. Don't watch them all. It's a bit like cheating in solitaire, as a friend of mine posted, who cheats at solitaire. Don't watch all of the discourses, but certainly watch 1 to 2 of them to see if this is something that you're going to have an issue with. At the same time also, I would listen to some of the chantings. You can watch them on YouTube. I'll post a link in the description for where you can find English translations of the chantings as well. I wish that I had listened or heard some of the chantings before I went to the meditation. It would have lessened the shock a bit. Be patient. This is a long 10 days. You're here to develop patience. So learn to develop your patience. There are going to be times in the day where you're just, if you're like me, you're just climbing the wall. Why does it have to be like that? Or why does it have to be like this? You're just questioning everything, and the emotions that will come and go, highs and lows. Learn to be patient, and you'll be able to get through this. Just let it kind of wash over you. Again, cravings and aversions. Learn that the concept of anicca, which is impermanence, is actually one of the fundamental universal truths of life, in that nothing is permanent except for death and taxes, as they say. But learn to embrace the concept of anicca, that you can get through this. It's not going to last forever. Request a chair. Don't be shy about requesting a chair. There will be other people that are requesting a chair. And by the way, don't think that it's a cop-out, and also don't think that by looking at someone else sitting in a chair, don't think that you're in a strict, cross-legged meditative pose. Don't think that you're getting any bigger benefit of Vipassana meditation by sitting in that strict pose. No, Goenka is very, very clear that physical discomfort, physical pain should not be an impediment to Vipassana meditation. And by the way, the chair is not nearly as comfortable as it appears to be. There's a metal plate under your cushion. Your back begins to hurt, your legs begin to hurt, the blood starts to puddle in your legs, don't think that it is, so much better than sitting on the floor, but request a chair if you need it. And finally, I guess my biggest point is just stick with it. You can get through this. Yes, there will be times where you are right on the edge. I was right on the edge. I even wrote a note to the teacher, but I canceled it at the last minute, and I said I'm going to stick this out, and I'm really glad that I did. I have no regrets. Just stick with it, I guess, is my biggest piece of advice. You can get through this. Okay, so let's quickly talk about now, did I get anything out of this? Would I recommend it? And would I do it again? So let's get into this. Okay, so just to wrap up this 4-part series on Vipassana meditation, I just want to quickly talk about, would I recommend this to anyone? Absolutely, 100%. That being said, there are some caveats. It is a significant time commitment, so you need to have 10 days available. And if the 10 days that you need to take off is going to cause harm in your career, your professional environment, your work, your patients if you're a physician, doctor, if you're an attorney and you have some important court cases coming up, etc., you need to balance 10 days, taking 10 days out of that with those other commitments. But for me, I was lucky. I had a very, very small window of opportunity. I decided to take advantage of it. It's something that I've always been good at doing in my life, is taking advantage of downtime. I'm not one to sit around and, twiddle my thumbs idly. Had some time off, so I decided to go ahead and do it and get it done with. So if you have the time, if you can make it logistically, if you can get to a meditation center, 100%. You will absolutely enjoy it post completion. You will not enjoy the process, but you will enjoy the sense of accomplishment at the end. My patience has increased significantly. I'm much more sensitive to my surroundings. I'm much more sensitive in conversation with people. Before I say something, I take a nanosecond, it just flashes through my mind quickly. Should I try to say something to make that person feel better? Previously, I would not have had that sensitivity or that level of empathy. I'm not a changed person, by the way. This hasn't changed me. I'm not, 180 degrees in the other direction. No, but these are just subtle improvements that I've seen that have come into my daily life. So my patience has gone up. My notion that not everything is forever. Everything does end. There is a life cycle. There is a death to everything, and I'm in traffic. I'm not nearly as frustrated as I used to be. I don't know if I'm on the path to enlightenment. Am I happier? Slightly, marginally. I'm more happy and proud of the fact that I was able to do it and get through it. I do Vipassana on a weekly basis now. I do try to take time out of my day. I do take 30 minutes out of my day. I do it as often as I can. I try to aim for once a day. I'm not one of these guys, an hour in the morning or an hour in the evening. I don't have that time or that commitment. But I do 30 minutes of Vipassana meditation. I like the technique. Using Anapana, I'm able to very, very quickly bring my level of anxiety down. I understand that if I'm going through some difficult times in life, they're not going to last forever. I enjoy the peace of mind that I get coming out of a meditation session. I feel refreshed. So I think there are huge benefits. And if you have time to do it, I highly recommend doing it. Would I do it again? At this point, 100% no. Absolutely not. No way, no how. But I've just come off of a Vipassana meditation course just several weeks ago. So it's still fresh in my mind, right? And the entire notion of anicca, of impermanence, I'm not so sure my attitude will change in the next, say, 6 months. Maybe I would change and I would go back for another 10-day session. It is a really difficult course though. It is a massive time commitment. I'm not sure that I would do it again, but we'll see. But certainly I would recommend it for anyone if they want to challenge themselves, if they want to learn a bit about themselves. You really get to know yourself in one of these sessions. You really wake up in the morning, you go into the bathroom and you look at yourself in the mirror, and that's, you know, you can lie to a lot of people in the world, but you can't lie to yourself. And for me, that's what I got out of it. So I'm glad I did it. I got a lot out of it. Would I do it again? At this point, no, but hey, who's to say that won't change in the future? So anyway, good luck everyone. If you have any questions, post in the comments below. I'll answer everyone that, you know, asks any sensible questions. I'll try to follow up. But if you do this, good luck, stick with it.